Welcome everyone to the Flip Side of Crypto. Joining me today, Tor Constantino. You might have heard this gentleman's name as one of our key writers at Dailycoin. And today, the man, the myth, the legend shows his face. Welcome, Tor.
Thank you so much for the very gracious introduction, Martynas. I appreciate that. Thank you. How are you today?
Oh, bloody good. Actually, just had 2 interviews and just wanted the audience to have a chance to look at your face, the man behind the great texts. And actually, could we just learn a bit about you? What's your background?
Sure. So I've been a journalist. I was a journalist for 10 years. I earned my MBA degree, and then I transitioned into Fortune 500 companies where I've been working for the past 20 years or so, and have seen a lot, have done a lot. And but 4 years ago, cryptocurrencies really sparked my imagination and captured my attention, and I haven't looked back. And thrilled to be part of the Dailycoin team, and thrilled to be a contributing writer for your great project.
And in essence, me and Tor today have one mission, is to give you the flip side to the crypto news. In essence, if you read the flip side in our website, this will be a more extended and more Tor-heavy version of it. Anyway, let's get to it. Today's hot topic. Amazon's rumors had the whole market in turmoil. So it was an upward swing because there was a rumor that people would be accepting Amazon. That Amazon would actually be accepting Bitcoin payments, crypto payments in general, and then they denied it. What do you think about this, Tor?
To be frank, I'm not surprised that Amazon would deny a rumor of that nature. And here's why. Being in corporate America for as many years as I have, being on the public relations side of the fence as long as I have, Amazon is a publicly traded company, number one. And until they're ready to make the announcement themselves or to launch the project, they're going to have to say it's just rumor and speculation and we don't comment on it or we deny it, because they have to make filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a publicly traded company. If they don't do those first, and then they say they confirm a rumor, so to speak, they could get fined from the SEC for what do they call it? I'm blanking right now. It's selective disclosure. Pardon my brain lapsed there for a minute. Selective disclosure is just that you're not giving the full potential audience of investors the information. So that's why they have to say it's rumor, speculation, and deny it. That's what I would do if I was in their shoes. All right.
So this is common practice then, essentially.
Oh yeah, especially for companies that are publicly traded, and I think that in the Flipcoin collection roundup today, you made the point that there is they could be at a competitive disadvantage if they disclose early, and so I think that makes sense as well. That they want to keep their cards close to their chest. They don't want to disclose anything until they're ready, and they do it on their terms.
Right, but they're such a behemoth. And essentially, you made a great point where we were just chatting previously, that essentially they could potentially become a bank, right? If they wanted to.
I really think that, and I think that they would want to. They tend to beta test things internally first, and then they tend to roll them out to a broader audience. And I think that a lot of the viewers of this particular segment would be shocked to realize that Amazon is already a big part of the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Their AWS platform, which stands for Amazon Web Services, already manages 25% of Ethereum's workload globally. That's incredible. They're the infrastructure that Ethereum runs on, that all the DeFi projects run on. And it would not be that much of a stretch for Amazon to just take their expertise and ride on their own network. I think that that's where they're going to be in 3 to 5 years. Don't be surprised if you find Amazon Bank on your mobile device near you, where you can get a loan, you can get a micro loan, you can apply for a mortgage, or any of those other types of DeFi projects or offerings that are available to the crypto space.
25%. Jeez. I mean, it's staggering is that's a word to describe it, but in another way, it's the Bezos way. That's what he wants to do. And just to give a flip side to this whole story, there was a mole. Someone leaked this information, right? So that's a given, and most likely him or her is out, essentially. And what would usually be the repercussions to this person to leaking such information, Tor?
So I'm not an HR expert, a human resources expert, but I can tell you, if those corporate policies are disclosed and everybody has to sign off on them on an annual basis, which is a very common practice, that can then, and it says things like, depending on the nature of the disclosure, it could warrant immediate dismissal, as to your point, or it could be just that you do have to keep a record and create a list. You can't just fire somebody summarily. In many instances, you have to have a pattern of behavior, unless, to your point, this was egregious enough and such a clear violation of the company's policy that it warranted it. Amazon doesn't want to get sued and deal with lawsuits of unfair firings and things like that, which could happen, and I think they face a lot. So I would think that person could be dismissed if it was egregious enough, and if they find out who it is. That's the other thing too.
Oh, so there's a possibility they don't know who did it.
It's possible. Usually, if they have a team like this, there could be, I would say there's at least a dozen people working on this project. That would be my guess. Probably 2 dozen, all the various aspects. And it could be anybody on one of those teams that let it slip.
Gotcha. So good luck to that person, whoever he or she is, for giving us this great scoop. It could have been foreseen, but what could also be foreseen is that Tether is in the news again, being investigated for fraud in the initial stages of its development. Could you elaborate a bit more on the story, Tor?
So from my understanding and my take on it is, to be honest, and this is a little counterintuitive, I'm flipping the side on you already. I'm going, I would not be surprised if a lot of this was honestly fear, uncertainty, and doubt, just FUD. Let's not kid ourselves. The Digital Currency Group, which is a massive conglomerate, they own CoinDesk and Coinbase, and also Circle. USDC is a subsidiary of that. They're the number 2 stablecoin globally. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this hyper type of news coverage is being fanned a little bit because of they're trying to exploit the timing of this. And to be honest, I think that the DOJ has been silent on what exactly the claims are, what the criminal charges are. There's not a lot out there. So until they're in court and until the facts are out, right now it's just hearsay. But the allegations of bank fraud, those are serious. I don't know that it would be the end of Tether. I think that it would be some sort of a penalty. I'm not sure about how the extent of the criminal charges that may be imposed on the former executives, but that might not splash over onto Tether, and that company can still continue to be a going concern. I don't think Tether is going to dry up and blow away because of this.
Yeah, but just a flip side to that, even it seems like every damn week something happens with a project. I mean, for the guys at home, I think you're sick and tired, even of our site and others, writing about regulation after regulation. And sorry for that, but it's just a crypto reality right now. It's unfortunately, it seems to be progressing, but Tor, I don't think this is avoidable now, is it?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the natural progression, to be candid with you. And when you look at like stable coins, I think that is really in particular a hot button issue right now because of the central banking cryptocurrencies that are being considered now in China, in the US even, and other countries around the world. And a lot of those central banks, if you look and read over the weekend, there were a few stories that came out and an essay I recall. I want to say it was in the Times, but regardless, they were criticizing these coins, stable coins, and saying that they are going back to the free banking movement in the late 1800s, which almost destroyed the America economy, where banks were issuing their own currencies, and a bank coin issued in, say, Utah would not have value out of the state in Colorado or someplace else. And they're saying we can't go back to that. We need to have a uniform government approach to currency. But that's what you would expect a government to say. That you would expect that from a central bank. So I think that's another reason why they're trying to put their crosshairs and put a bullseye on Tether.
Gotcha. Now, just rapid fire, we have quite a few more news pieces to go through. Goldman Sachs. Now they want to be in DeFi. What's your take on it, Tor?
My take, it's a joke. I mean, I'm glad that they want to do it. I'm glad they're coming up. But this is the thing. 5 weeks ago, they called it, let me just get the exact quote here. They called Bitcoin a non-viable investment. 5 weeks ago, last month, a non-viable investment, but forget about that. Now we're going to launch an ETF. I mean, again, what they see out of one side of their mouth is not what they're saying out of the other side.
I mean, at some point, you kind of think, do they have some type of, mental disease? A little bit of...
Maybe manic depression. Manic money depression, perhaps.
Manic money depression. That's a quote. Thank you. I mean, at some point, it gets a bit ridiculous where was it Jamie Dimon actually saying a few years ago now, oh, it's definitely gonna blow over, it's not a viable investment, etc., etc. Then it turns out that they had massive investigations into it, could they launch it, etc. And now you know that, oh, actually they're selling it to their clientele. At some point you just go, can I believe anything these guys are saying?
Their credibility is severely undermined, and that's one of the reasons why cryptocurrency is such an attractive investment for the individual, because to your very point, they can't even be the big banking interests, the financial investment institutions, they can't even be honest about their approach to this particular asset class. And so it's very difficult to believe them when they're talking about other things, in my opinion, because their credibility has been so tarnished and damaged over the years. You're absolutely right. And it was Jamie Dimon, you're right, the CEO of JP Morgan, who said he'd fire anybody in his organization who traded in Bitcoin. And now they're embracing it with open arms because their clients want it.
So the old adage is true: when there's money, basically you can turn the other cheek.
Right.
I know where it's from, but it may have originated here. Anyway, now plowing on further, there's a love triangle. And it has to do with Elon Musk, Tesla, and Bitcoin. Oy, can you explain your latest reaction to this news?
It's when we talk again about a type of bipolar or schizophrenia, perhaps, I think that's embodied in our friend Elon Musk and his relationship with Bitcoin, as you said. They announced their second quarter earnings yesterday. They had a blowout quarter, which is good, which is positive. They had net revenues or net earnings, I think, were tenfold of what they were last year. Great for them. But they also took a $23 million impairment on Bitcoin losses. And this is my question about Elon Musk and Tesla and Bitcoin. They have a significant investment in that particular cryptocurrency, right? And his comments in mid-May, that's second quarter, really kind of triggered the cascade and devaluation that we've seen occur within Bitcoin of more than 50%. How can his investors not file a class action lawsuit for mismanagement by devaluing their own asset base? I mean, they have more than $1 billion. I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. But according to their financials, it was only a recorded loss of $23 million. And I guess that it's not a exercised loss because they didn't cash them out at that discount. But still, as a shareholder, if I was a shareholder of Tesla, I'd be concerned about the CEO taking those types of wild mood swings and letting him have control on that on the Bitcoin button, so to speak.
Well, quite frankly, aren't we to blame? I mean, he tweets, the market reacts. And do comment down below. Are you sick and tired of Elon tweeting about crypto? Do you even care these days? Right? So, quite frankly, going back to the subject matter, I really like the guy. That's the problem, right? So it's one of those things where you can admire the person, you can admire the product, right? I don't think any one of our viewers would be against owning a Tesla, right? I would assume so. He makes good products, but also his comments about the crypto industry in general they kind of make you scratch your head at the least and throw something at the wall at the worst. So,
something that he said on the earnings call yesterday, which really surprised me, is he took a shot at Apple, and just completely unprovoked. It's not a competitor, and what he said that Apple uses more cobalt in its batteries than Tesla does. And so, to your point, you can admire the man for having a vision. SpaceLink trying to engulf the planet in ubiquitous web content and access to the internet, that's noble. The idea of trying to create a sustainable electric call network, there's aspirations in that as well. But at the same time, his business does create environmental challenges, and we can't ignore that. Every lithium-ion battery, only 40% of it can be recycled. And then again, the mining of the cobalt and some of the other heavy metals that go into it, those are problematic. And when those do break down into a landfill, there is leaching. So rather than addressing that, though, this is just my issue, he tackles and goes after Apple. To me, it seems, to your point, you can admire the aspiration and vision of somebody, but how they execute toward that vision, that gives me a little indigestion and heartburn.
Yeah, talking about indigestion and heartburn, we have some NFT updates. At this point, every time there's NFT news, I kind of think to myself, what kind of nonsensical old TV show or some IP is going to be resurrected from the dead and going to try to perform? But right now, it's kind of interesting. Shopify is integrating NFTs. Well, at a limited capacity, to be fair. You can find more information about that on the Dailycoin website. We'll definitely link it down below. But in essence, what the story means is, let me just quote it directly. Essentially, Shopify announced they will start supporting selling of NFTs. Now, the trading of these items is limited, according to Harley Finkelstein. Hopefully, I'm getting that surname right. Well, he mentioned it on Twitter, so this is not a very big official statement, but still, it's Shopify. It's gigantic.
The thing about, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, my friend, but your point is well made. Right now, the only markets for NFTs have traditionally been OpenSea, Mintly, Rarible. I think they've been these sites that
Unifty,
exactly, where you have to pay a significant portion of your sale to one of those sites. It could be upwards of 20%. What Shopify is looking to do, and I think it's a great step forward for the individual creators and artists, is they're allowing, I think, a step towards enabling these individuals to set up their own storefront, if you will, and offer their own NFTs there. And I think that's a great step forward and a great advancement for anybody who wants to create NFTs and get in that space.
Yeah, so this is good, solid adoption news. I mean, the flip side to that is, of course, how limited is it? who will be allowed to do it, what kind of NFTs will it be, etc., etc. So many more questions which we'll cover in future episodes. Now, in other NFT news, stoner cats. All right, take it away, Tor. What's stoner cats about?
Again, honestly, if you've ever been a fan of the '70s shows, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have collaborated on a bunch of things before since then, but that's where they originally met. Yeah. And they're launching this new NFT, which I don't know if it's some sort of parody or spoof off of CryptoKitties, which was an NFT property in 2017 that kind of launched the whole NFT project forward. But I know that they're looking to have Vitaly on it as well, and I think that that's interesting. I think that's provocative as a way to kind of spur adoption. The thing that I thought was really novel about this particular piece of news is that when you, instead of like a typical Netflix series that is kind of just rolled up under your Netflix subscription, in this one, you have to buy the NFT, you get the certificate, you get a piece, you get a piece of the program, if you will, and then you get access to the program too. And I think it's novel. I think it's a great way to kind of rescope and rethink about the use case of this particular type of distribution channel in the future. And again, it's exciting, but I think ultimately it's going to come to this fragmented, a very kind of fragmented society where we will be able to just get the things that we want and have them directly, but we pay for them, but you won't have to get the what they call the cable bundle package where you get 100 channels and you only watch 2 of them. You'll get this hyper-focused type of content that you want and that meets your need.
What I like about this is actually you are actually putting NFTs to good use. It's your unique ticket, right? So only you have access to it. Like right now, I think many viewers at home are sharing Netflix accounts, etc. So it's a picture of life. But again, it's a novel use case. Now, of course, will this be adopted by the masses, right? Mass adoption. I don't know, names like Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, and Vitaly Buterin. I mean, that just rolls off the tongue, right? The great actor, Vitaly Buterin.
The great thespian of our time, exactly right.
Well, I'm happy for the guy. I mean, he is a definition of big brain, and I really want him to succeed. And a flip side to that is this the best use of his time? Some would say focus more on the gas fees, focus on, Ethereum 2.0, etc. But hey, each man has his own vices, his own hobbies, etc. And his hobby has to do with starlets. And quite frankly, you could find worse people to do it than with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Yeah.
And the other piece of that equation is he absolutely focusing on the technical side and optimizing Ethereum and advancing E2.0. But at the same time, I think that some of these founders have to find that balance. I mean, if you look at the one extreme, there's Elon Musk, and then you've got somewhere in the middle, I think, Charles Hoskinson on ADA and Cardano. And, Vitaly going out and doing this is not bad. It doesn't hurt. And I think it's what you were saying earlier. It elevates the awareness out there in the broader society about NFTs and crypto and helps raise awareness and possibly spur adoption.
I think it's also good. Good for you, Vitaly. I'm looking forward to the Charles Hoskinson show where
maybe he's doing a co with The Simpsons. He probably has been on The Simpsons. Wasn't he on The Simpsons? I can't recall.
Maybe.
Regardless, I have an image of him wearing one of his Hawaiian shirts in a Simpson episode. I could be completely wrong, but that's coming to a TV near you, perhaps.
Most likely, and if not, we'll make it happen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the flip side of crypto. Make sure to comment down below what topics you would like us to cover in tomorrow's. Basically, every episode from now on will be on work days, Monday through Friday. And if you have any questions, you can write into hello@dailycoin.com with your suggestions. But we'll read the comments carefully in YouTube, so we'll try to cover topics over there as well. So make sure to stay tuned, and me and Tor say till tomorrow. See you guys.